Thank you for giving us your time today as we explore possibilities for the future of Cherokee County. We want to thank our Cherokee County Council for funding this program, as they also feel that a good master plan is of vital importance to our future. Also, I want to thank our steering committee who have donated their time and efforts in developing some of the questions that you have today and will be guiding this process throughout its entirety. With that being said, I'm going to ask Karen Floyd of the Palladium Group, if she will, to begin the process of gathering data and getting your input in this important long-range plan. Thank you.
On behalf of the Palladium Group, it really is my privilege and honor to be participating in this visioning process. We've spent a couple of decades across the Southeast helping communities like Cherokee County to find their own vision. And it really begins with a lot of community input, which is the purpose really for which we're here today. On the left-hand side of your screen, you're going to see it's almost a PowerPoint. It really takes you through the process. On the right-hand side is a survey, and I'm going to ask you please to help us. If you go forward on the survey, you'll lose what is almost the foundational information. And so if you can not go on to the survey and then stay at the numbers that we're calling, that would be super helpful. So let's begin sharing a little bit about the overview. There is this wonderful quote from Yogi Berra: if you don't know where you're going, you might end up somewhere else. And the point of that is really for our community, for Cherokee County, to take a look at where we intend to go and then kind of plan around it. And so it begins with, what is the picture of the future? What do each of you, with your voices being heard, what and how do you see Cherokee County? What's the value proposition? And our goal is really defined by you, the leadership, steering committee members, general public at large. What are the goals that we can actually attain? And then how do we make this work? We get input from as many people as we possibly can to participate. And finally, what this is not. This is not another shelf sitter that sits in a room or an office and never is seen. This is truly about forging a path that people can come together around, and then giving a vision for, again, what the community sees Cherokee County to be in the future. And the process was quite simple. It began with 5 individuals, all of whom represent different backgrounds, different geographic areas, different ethnicities, and it began with Abby Sossman, who is the associate publisher and news editor for Gaffney Ledger, Michael Bridges, who is a pastor of Concord Baptist Church, Jamie Vineset, who's the controller of Freightliner, so kind of a larger business being represented, Will Cobb, who is a Blacksburg businessman, and Glenda Herzog, who represents downtown Gaffney businesses. So you really have different geographical areas and different interests. We began in a foundational process with a series of icebreakers, and from there we went into a brainstorming session where it was truly a visioning. And on a whiteboard and a series of other boards, we literally culled a very large list into a more defined list of what Cherokee County is, what it can be, what it should be, and what it will be. And the criteria, and it was really a task by Steve and County Council, was to make sure that these are tangible outcomes. In other words, purposeful projects that have beginnings and ends, and that there's some control within the county. So a tangible outcome, it would be wonderful to say we're going to cure poverty. We're going to eradicate racism. These lofty goals, they're phenomenal, but it's not something that's tangible that we can capture. It's not something that's controlled within the county. So education was another example of what we really were not going to put within the confines of our sectors. Because education has its own Department of Education. It has its own school districts, its own superintendents, its own boards. So for us to say, this is what we're going to do, is a little disingenuous. So we had tangible outcomes, and then control within the county. We defined our look and feel of the visioning process with Cherokee 2037. And we picked Cherokee 2037 because Cherokee County was actually formed in 1897, and we're going to be working in increments or milestones with the 7-year. So 2037 was 140 years, and in 140 years, we hope that this clear vision that was defined in 2020 has become a reality. I'm going to remind everyone that we have a microsite called aclearvision.org, and the microsite has a countdown for when the unveil is going to be. It has a comment section, a public comment section, and in the comment section there's a really important component, and that is for us to get referrals, so to speak, or nominations, or individuals that you believe would be well suited into giving input into some of the sectors or the 4 sectors that we have created. And so this is the first time I'm going to ask you to be thinking about whose name needs to be involved in the steering committee portion of a clear vision. So remember, from a process standpoint, we began with this group of 5, and it's been expanded now into a larger steering committee around 4 individual sectors. And these are areas that we can actually begin a program of work and conclude the program of work. There are 4 sectors that were selected by the leadership team: economic development, infrastructure, quality of life, and tourism. You know, economic development is everything that you actually can do to recruit business and industry into your area. Infrastructure is, how do you advance connectivity? What are the elements that are really important to grow your community, whether it's broadband, public transportation, water, sewer? Quality of life, how do you live well? It's your green space, it's the beauty of your community, it's the natural elements that make your community a place that you love to live, work, and play. And finally, tourism. What is it that you can do to attract people to grow your economy and actually to begin a visitor pool? And so with these 4 sectors, we have aligned a calendar of events to really outreach to the community at large. Economic development, every Tuesday at 9, 12, and 7, we'll be inviting people to have their voices heard. Infrastructure, which is what we're talking about today, which is led by Michael Bridges and Will Cobb. Same thing, every Wednesday, 9, 12, and 7. Quality of life and tourism, every Thursday and Friday. But the tangible projects that are so important under the guise of infrastructure and this idea of advancing connectivity are broadband, which is effectively access to Wi-Fi, internet throughout the rural areas of the community. Public transportation for people in the underserved population, and water and sewer as an economic development driver, but also as a means of really giving Cherokee County the ability to grow and prosper. So this is the second time I'm going to ask you, who else needs to be involved? This is a very important part of the survey, and that is making sure that every voice is heard. And if you have any desire to add a name or to suggest someone, feel free to go to aclearvision.org, and that will be on the contact section or comment section. You can click on there and put forward the name of someone that might be interested in one of those 4 sectors. Community input is so important, and that really begins with hearing from you all in as concise a way as possible, with as many voices to be heard. So the first question today, I'm going to ask you now to begin the survey, is simply type in your name. What is your name? And then the second question is, what is your email? And the reason that's important is we need to be able to contact you for follow-up meetings. If you decide that this is something that you'd like to participate in further, we're going to be building that list as well. The third is your telephone number. If we have any questions or follow-up, that would be wonderful for us to have just in our database. And again, our goal is to have as many voices to be heard as possible. And in order to do that, we need to have people involved in the process. If you can just take a second right now and give us the name on question number 4 of who you think should be involved in this process, and if there's a sector, if it's economic development, recruiting businesses, if it's infrastructure, which is what we're doing today, the connectivity with broadband, public transportation, and interstate, entering the interstate, leaving the interstate, and coming into our community, quality of life, and tourism. If you can just indicate, that would be wonderful. All right, next is kind of a fun question, number 5. When you think of Cherokee County, what are you most proud of? We're really trying to get a sense of the pride that residents of Cherokee County have and around what. So is it Revolutionary War sites and history? Is it the rural beauty and feel? High school football? The county's potential? Limestone University? Your history in agriculture, manufacture, mining, and textiles? And if not, please submit your own. Question number 6 is really a visioning question. What do you wish Cherokee County could be? You know, prior to BMW coming to Spartanburg, Spartanburg really lacked one, what I call pivotal industry. And then when BMW came in, all of the sister and brother supporting industries actually created a hub, and it transformed Spartanburg. Do you want Cherokee County to be the home of a new economy like that? Do you want Cherokee County to be seen as a tourism destination? And if it's a historical tourism destination, including Revolutionary War sites, do you want Cherokee County to be seen as an ecotourism, a place where people come to for greenways and waterways? Or better still, parks and recreation, a place for sports tournaments? Is it a place with a reputation for simply being family friendly, almost a bedroom community for some of your adjacent counties, just having a great quality of life? And if it's none of the above, just tell us what you see your Cherokee County to be and submit your own. Now that's your vision. What's the number one thing that you believe is needed to make that vision a reality, to realize it? Is it unified vision and leadership, like what we're doing today to pull the community together? Is it financial resources, public-private partnership? And if it's none of the above, please submit your own. How would you sum up the vision of Cherokee County in just a few words? Is it honoring our history and forging our future? Is it this idea of what transpired before and leading us into the future? Is it the fact that we're stronger together as a community? Is it more of a home quality of life, a place to call home? And if none of those really fit your vision of Cherokee County, what is your vision? I'll give you a couple of seconds to kind of think through that and give us your vision. Now, question number 9 takes a little bit of talking, so please bear with me. The ongoing coronavirus pandemic has really shown us how important it is for all children to have access to broadband, and that's basically high-speed internet. There are lots of young folks that were not in school when originally or traditionally they would be in school, and they needed access to the internet and didn't have it. According to the FCC, access to broadband stimulates economic growth, spurs job creation, it boosts healthcare and e-commerce. It is really access to the internet, and in many cases, high-speed internet. How important is expanding broadband into rural parts of Cherokee County? And you can rank from not important to very important. Just take your mouse and put it over the star that delineates what you feel. Number 10, you can select more than one. Select any that you feel that actually apply. But what are some other connectivity initiatives that Cherokee County could focus on? Work within the city of Gaffney and town of Blacksburg to install more public Wi-Fi hotspots. Work with the Cherokee County School District to identify rural areas most in need of broadband. Ensure that any new parks and recreation developments are outfitted with publicly available high-speed internet. And finally, to encourage any new development to include spaces where people can gather to use public high-speed internet. And if there's any other area where you feel that there are some connectivity initiatives that Cherokee County can focus on, please suggest your own. Number 11, Cherokee County does not have any sort of public transportation system for low-income and elderly residents to get to doctor's appointments, grocery stores, or other essential services. The question is simple: would you support the county investing in this type of infrastructure? Why or why not? And this is public transportation system for low-income or elderly residents. Thank you. What other benefits could a public transportation system provide? And again, this is multiple choice, so you can pick one or you can pick more than one. Getting college students to and from Limestone University or SCC's Cherokee County campus. Connecting downtown Gaffney with downtown Blacksburg. Making it easier for shoppers to get to retail areas such as the downtown and the Yellow Mall. Open job opportunities for people with limited transportation options, and getting families to and from sporting events. And if there are any more, please suggest them on your own. Number 13, we learned this during the discovery phase of the visioning process, that the largest casino in the Southeast is under construction just across the county state line in Kings Mountain. It's expected to generate a substantial number of new jobs. Do you think employees who live in Cherokee County would be able to use public transportation system to get to and from the casino to work? Why or why not? On a scale of 1 to 10, how important do you consider public transportation to Cherokee County? 1, not needed, somewhat needed, or very needed. Number 15. This was a fact that was somewhat interesting when we learned that a majority of property along the interstate I-85 corridor is not served by water and sewer. And that hinders economic development. Water and sewer is so important to drive business and recruit industry. Would you support the various governmental entities in Cherokee County investing more in this type of infrastructure along the I-85 corridor? Why or why not? Number 16, again in the discovery phase, we learned that Cherokee County has multiple water and sewer providers, each serving district areas of the county. Would you support a third party from outside of the county conducting an analysis of Cherokee County's water and sewer needs, including the feasibility of creating a unified water and sewer authority and its impact on providers and their customers? Why or why not? And that's a lot, so let me kind of break that up for you. There are multiple water and sewer providers, each serving a very specific district of the county. What if a third party came in and conducted almost an audit of the county water and sewer needs, and looking at things like a unified water and sewer authority and the impact on providers and their customers? Why or why not? Question number 17. This really is an open slate for each of you. Are there any other tangible, attainable goals like those we just discussed that could help bolster infrastructure and increase connectivity within Cherokee County? So we've been very specific about broadband, public transportation. Is there anything else that we should really focus on that could help in this area of infrastructure? The next question takes us in a different direction. Which, if any, governmental entity has the capacity to complete these infrastructure projects in terms of time, financial resources, and training? If so, who? Which governmental entity has the capacity to complete these infrastructure projects? Do you know of a private sector entity that has the capacity to complete these infrastructure projects in terms of time and financial resources and training? If so, who? Question number 20. Is there a not-for-profit entity that has the capacity to complete these infrastructure projects, whether it's broadband, transportation, or interstate? If so, who? And finally, is there a philanthropist, a benefactor who has the capacity to complete these infrastructure projects in terms of time, financial resources, and training? If so, who? We've also been tasked with identifying landmarks that Cherokee County residents are proud of. We're asking, other than the peach, if you could submit to us your top 3 landmarks that you really are proud of that represents Cherokee County to you. And if you think of more, please feel free to go to aclearvision.org, aclearvision.org, and please go to the comment section and tell us which landmark best represents for you a Cherokee County vision of yours. Are you interested in serving on the steering committee? We'd love for you to participate in as much way as you'd like. So if the answer is yes, yes. If the answer is no, no. And if there are conditions or questions, please identify and we'll get back with you. Now, the public sector forum may take many forms. And as you can see on question 24, depending on where we are with the pandemic, we will either do it digitally or we will be face-to-face at the county administration offices. And we'd love to have steering committee members there to participate. If that's an interest of yours, please indicate yes or no. Question number 25. Please remember our goal is to gather as many voices as possible to shape this plan that will certainly guide the future of Cherokee County. What else should be involved in this process? Who else should be involved in this process? If you can just give us 3 names. And remember, we're in the infrastructure area, but if they would be more prone to tourism or quality of life or economic development, please know we would love for that to, we'd love to know who they are. Finally, what questions did we not ask that you feel should have been asked? I'll just give you a couple of minutes for that. And then when you're completed, if you would be certain to hit that done sign. If you do not click done, we will not have your survey, even if it's been filled to the brim. So we need you to answer that question. If there's anything that we've left out that we should have asked, please submit that and then be sure to hit done. I want to remind you that it's so important for you you and your ideas to be heard. It makes our visioning process so much more complete. I want to end by thanking you. I want to thank the County Council of Cherokee County for having the vision and the foresight to take a project like this on. The administrator and the countless number of hours that we've spent with Mr. Bratton going over the best approach at getting the most people. And I want to thank you, the participant, for taking the time to complete this 1-hour process or less. We appreciate it and look forward to December 7th when the vision of Cherokee County is heard by all. Thank you so much.